Marino, and welcome to day 1 of KubeCon, which is technically also day 3 and somehow also day 2, if you look at the statistics. So how has it been so far at KubeCon for you?
First, hello back to you. So I actually arrived Saturday for the Rejects conference, so I did a day and a half of that, and quite honestly, it is the best warm-up because you get to see all of the speakers that you would normally see elsewhere. It almost feels like a bit of a family event and a family affair because everyone you know is going to be there, and It's great because you kind of get to see what they're going to talk about or what they intended to talk about but got rejected, but, a little sad, but the reality is they get to share some of those insights, some of those cool presentations.
Any favorite talks from Cloud Native Rejects that people should definitely catch up when there's a recording?
Yes. So actually, I have a few, and now I'm starting to forget what they were. So there was one by Courtney Nickerson.
Yes.
And she really wanted to get into the ideologies behind breaking down the silos of dev and ops and using guardrails to help with that, right? So that you make sure that everyone's operating in their laneways but can still collaborate and work together. And I love that talk because she really gets into some of that depth of why we are who we are, how we think, and how we work together to really collaborate. But here's the other kicker. So her CTO was supposed to show up for that talk, and he did not because his flight was, I think, delayed or something.
Okay.
And she just, slayed that entire presentation by herself. She didn't need a CTO. She basically was that CTO in that presentation.
And any other talks that you can think of? I know there were a few at the co-located events that we will get into in a bit, but anything else that particularly stands out from Cloud Native Rejects?
Yes. So there's always the lightning round.
Right.
The lightning round has 5-minute talks, and they're always great. There were 2 in particular that stood out. So one by Meg Stefuli, who actually talked a little bit about being a mother and working in tech. She has 5 children, and there's just so many different things she has to think about, but she also has to make sure she takes care of herself, because if she doesn't take care of herself, well, guess what happens, right?
Right.
And then the other one was by Neela, and she talked about blameless culture.
Okay.
And it was a 5-minute talk around how you can ensure a safe psychological environment for folks to operate and collaborate and work together in the world of cloud native or in development for that matter.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting thing to delve into because having been in production support myself, I totally advocate for a blameless culture when, not just during incident postmortems, but otherwise as well. But moving on, do we have any favorite co-located events that you managed to catch up with yesterday?
I managed to catch a couple of sessions. I hit up CiliumCon, because I was presenting at CiliumCon. I was actually at Edge Day too because I presented there. So obviously I'm going to be a little bit biased towards my talks.
Yep.
But I did catch a great talk about preview environments.
Okay.
That was by Ramiro and Suli.
Yep.
And Ramiro's from Octeto and Suli's an independent consultant. And they were talking about preview environments to help you stage your code environments to make sure you can do some feature flag tests and whatnot. And it was really cool to see how you can set those environments up and spin them down really quickly. So it was a great demo and great talk overall. And that happened at App Delivery Con, which I think is a newer co-located event.
It is.
Yeah.
And I saw quite the crowd outside App Delivery Con yesterday for a book signing, I believe, on platform engineering. So that kind of blew my mind because I thought that line was for coffee, to be really honest.
That's awesome, yeah.
But yeah, I know that we go a long way. Our companies go a long way.
Yeah.
So we'd like to hear some exciting stuff that's in the pipeline and probably give our viewers a bit of a sneak preview into some of the exciting stuff that you've been working on at Solo.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't start with this, but I actually work for a company called Solo.io, and we focus in on application networking and APIs and API management and service mesh and even CNIs. So we cover a good level of cloud native networking, and it's pretty cool when you think about it because it doesn't mean you spin up a cluster and everything's working. There's so much more to consider. Anyways, now there's some really exciting stuff that Solo just recently announced. One is Glue Mesh Core, where you might be operating Istio and Cilium already in your environment, but you need a level of support and you need a level of management and observability. And so Glue Mesh Core is there for that. So this is what Solo launched just last week. And there was another one called Glue Gateway, where Now we're actually supporting the Gateway API capabilities
Oh,
natively inside of that Glue Gateway functionality. And of course, Glue Gateway is just an abstraction on top of Envoy,
yeah.
the widely used Envoy proxy
Proxy.
that everyone uses for service authentication and routing and whatnot. So it's actually pretty cool. Now, outside of that, like, what am I doing? I'm actually looking forward to like KubeCon and finishing it off with KubeCon and then taking some time off and actually relaxing because I want to start thinking about next year and how we can start talking a lot more about sustainability.
True.
Sustainability is your topic, it's your
Yeah.
domain. And I'm bringing this up because when I think about sustainability, my thinking is around the realms of, okay, how do we reduce cycle time on the keyboard? How do we reduce code inside of your Git version control system? How do we reduce CPU consumption? How do we reduce unnecessary deployments? How do we maybe scale down our testing and only test what we need to so that we're not consuming unnecessary amounts of CPU cycles? So there's so many different things to consider. And when I think about like some of the technologies that Solo has been working on, ambient mesh, for example, a sidecarless based service mesh from Istio, it means that you're consuming less resources. It
True.
means you have less touch points to worry about. It means overall, operationally, you're working towards that level of sustainability.
True.
And so it's great to really dive deeper into that. And I think next year we're really going to focus more on that. I want to focus more on that. And that's where I'm going to start reaching out to you to collaborate.
Absolutely. And for those who are at KubeCon, I would highly recommend that you check out some of the talks around environment sustainability that we are going to be having in the theatre itself. It's not going to be a talk. It's going to be one session with the co-chair, Leonard Palke, of Tag Environment Sustainability. We'll be having that tomorrow. So if you're around, please, feel free to come in with your questions around what the tag is doing under CNCF and what are some of the ways you can chip in and how you can contribute to the overall efforts that are being driven in this direction. With that, I will round it off, and I had just one more last question. Are there any talks that you're looking forward to at KubeCon in the coming few days?
So I will be very, very honest. So I would say go check out some of the solo talks that are going on. Actually, if you go to solo.io, they've got all the different talks that are going on for this week. But I say if you decide you don't want to do any talks, right? Because I feel like I'm not going to have any time to get to them. Logistically, for me, it's not always possible and feasible.
True.
But try and catch the hallway track.
Yeah. Hallway tracks are the coolest, by the way. I met half of the people in the hallway track. I was almost in the hallway track for most of yesterday. Didn't manage to do a lot of any of the collocated events or the contributor summit that I was slotted for in terms of attending. But I met a lot of people, including Marino, yesterday. So if you're at KubeCon and if you're tuning in live, please do stop by and let us know. And that's Marino with our really cute plushie from Rancher Academy. His name's Wyatt. So that's pretty much it from our side. Thank you, Marino, for being on here, and I hope you have a great KubeCon.
Thank you so much, Divya. I hope you have an excellent KubeCon, and I hope to see you around.
Yes, we definitely will be catching up soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Take
Thank
care, everyone.
you.